Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Always ready.
Today, we're tackling something I think we all struggle with at some point.
Yeah.
Trusting God.
hmm
Like really trusting Him when life gets tough. When things just don't make sense.
Yeah, for sure. Makes sense, for sure. Everyone faces those moments.
Exactly. And we've got the source material paste to text, and it really leans into this whole idea, especially in Proverbs.
Proverbs.
Yeah, Proverbs 3.56. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding."
Right.
And here's the thing. What does that actually look like in real life?
hmm
When you're like in the middle of a storm, how do you actually do that?
Yeah.
Trust blindly like that.
Well, it's hard, right? Because we're human. It's natural to question and try to figure things out ourselves.
Exactly.
But this source, it kind of hits on something super important, I think.
Hmm.
Doubt.
Yeah.
Doubt isn't the opposite of faith, really. It's
Yeah.
actually a part of it. We aren't robots, right? We're going to question, we're going to be afraid, we're going to be uncertain.
Right, totally. So I guess the question is, what do we do with all those feelings then? If it's okay to have them, how do we deal?
Exactly. That's the key. And this pasted text, it gives us like a practical way to deal. Gratitude.
Gratitude, okay?
Yeah, it talks about focusing on the good things.
Even when things are tough.
Yep, even when everything seems terrible. And there's actually research backing this up. Gratitude can change your whole perspective.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, less stress, improves well-being, all that.
So it's not about ignoring the hard stuff.
No, not at all.
Okay,
It's about acknowledging the good intentionally right alongside it.
I see. Shifting that internal narrative kind
Exactly. And that shift, that's where the deeper trust can actually start to grow.
of makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, the text also talks about this idea of peace in God's presence,
Mm.
even amidst uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, honestly, a lot of people struggle with that. I mean, what does that even actually look like in real life? How do you find peace when everything feels so chaotic?
I think about it kind of like, remember when you were a kid and you got scared? You'd run to a parent, right? For comfort. Maybe you didn't understand what was scary, but in their arms you were safe.
Yeah, I get that.
Faith, it's similar. You surrender, you acknowledge that, hey, we're not actually in control, and it's okay.
Takes the pressure off, I guess.
Exactly. We don't have to figure everything out constantly, which, let's be honest, is exhausting.
It really is.
Yeah.
And there's that beautiful line in the text, too. No matter what you're going through, God is with you, working all things for your good. It's comforting, But honestly, sometimes it's hard to truly believe that when you're right in the middle of something painful.
Oh, tell me about it.
Never struggle with that.
Of course. We all have, right? But what helps me is remembering that God's plan, well, it's not always on our timeline.
Right.
Doesn't always match our understanding either.
Yeah.
And that's where that trust comes in. Faith that even if we can't see it, there's this bigger picture,
It's like trusting the GPS, even when it takes you on a road you've never been on before.
I like that. I like that a lot. Like that GPS, we got to stay connected to the source of guidance.
How do we do that?
Prayer, studying scripture, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
connecting with our faith community, actively seeking guidance, not just waiting.
Okay, so instead of being passive and waiting for things to get better, we take an active role in our faith.
Exactly.
It's all about building that relationship, isn't it?
Exactly.
So bringing it all back to you, our listeners,
Mhm.
the key takeaway here, I think, is that even when life feels super overwhelming, like you just can't handle it, you're not alone, this text, it encourages you to lean on your faith and trust that bigger plan.
Yeah, even if you can't see it right now.
And that leads to an important question.
Oh.
If we're not always meant to understand everything, how do we learn to better recognize God's guidance in our lives,
Good question.
especially during those tough times?
How do we see it? What does that look like for you? What signs resonate? What speaks to you? Something to think about, right?
Definitely something to think about.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap for this deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.